The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Little boy called Jeffrey Miles. Jeffrey Miles grew up in a house where his mother was a single parent because his father passed away very young. And his mother by herself had to try to support the family and put bread on the table, try to make whatever she could. And unfortunately, she didn't do a good job. She was not able to make ends meet. And little Jeffrey sometimes would go to school starving. One time he actually went to school and he felt like in the middle of the class, he was going to pass out and pass away. He felt that if he doesn't eat right now, he's gonna die. He runs out of the school, down the block, trying to find any family, maybe someone that he knows, a family that he recognizes. Maybe anybody would have the Rahmanut, these are Goyim that we're speaking about. Maybe someone will have the Rahmanut. So he sees on one of the doors, Anderson. The Anderson family. He says, I'll take a shot. And he knocks on the door. And a little girl with ponytails opens the door. And he says, hi, what's your name? She says, Liz. And she gives a huge smile, ear to ear. And she says, what's your name? And he says, Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, Liz. I'm starving. Do you have any food for me? I feel like I'm going to die. Do you have anything to give me? And Liz says, sure. She runs inside and brings out 3 chocolate chip cookies. And she gives it to him with a huge smile, Liz's trademark smile. And he starts gobbling it down. It's gone in no time. And she looks at him and she says, in this house, we never eat cookies by themselves. We always eat cookies with a cup of milk. And she runs back inside and brings out a cold cup of milk. He downs the cup. Thank you, Liz. And he runs back to school. That was a very big turning point in Jeffrey's life. He actually advanced very well academically. He ended up going to major colleges, Ivy League, medical schools even maybe. And he ended up opening his own medical practice, one of the biggest in the Midwest America. Dr. Jeffrey Miles, one of the biggest practices in Midwest. Around 50 years after this story, they bring in a patient to the hospital, to his practice, and his nurse tells him, doctor, there's a new patient that wants to come in. She needs a lot of medical attention. He says, what's the name? What's the file? Let me see it. He sees the file and it says Liz Anderson. And he's like, why do I know that name? We know that name because we just heard the story. He has to flashback around 50 years. Why do I know the name Liz Anderson? Liz, Liz, Liz. He says, let me see the patient. He goes and he sees a lady on a stretcher behind a gas mask. And he looks at her and he says, hi, Liz. And Liz gives her trademark smile, ear to ear. The doctor can't forget that smile. And he remembers the 3 cookies and the cup of milk. And he says, bring her in. He gets his best doctors and his best surgeons working on her. By the operating table, he was there the whole time. In the recovery, he was there the whole time, following up with Liz, how's she doing? And the nurses were shocked. The doctor is so busy. Why in the world are you paying so much attention to one case? Why in the world do you care so much about Liz Anderson? They didn't understand. When finally she got better and her time came to go, they were preparing the bill for her. There's only so much the insurance is going to cover. And there was a lot that the insurance was not going to cover. A total unbelievable amount, let's call around 200 grand. And before they give her the bill, the doctor tells the nurse and he says, please let me see the bill before you give it to Miss Anderson. And the nurses prepare the bill, they give it to the doctor. And the doctor writes on the bill, paid in full, with 3 cookies and a cup of milk. She doesn't owe a dime. She's good to go. How many cookies and cups of milk did Hashem give us? How much do we owe Hashem? We say in Nishmat Kol Chai, Ilufinu Maleh Shira Kayam. If my mouth was full of song, I cannot thank you, Hashem, alachat me'elef alfei alafim, verov rebe rebabot. Allow me to please put a number to what we just said. Hashem, I cannot thank you, alachat me'elef. Achat me'elef is 1 out of 1,000. But we don't say achat me'elef. We say achat me'elef alfei. 1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000. 6 zeros. But we don't stop there. We say, Hashem, I cannot thank you back. Alachat me'elef alfei alafim. 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000 is 1,000,000,000. But we continue and say, Verob. Rob is 10,000. Verob, Hashem, I can't thank you for Rob. 1 out of 10,000. But we don't stop Rob. Rob Rebbe, 10,000 times 10,000 is 100,000,000. And then we say Rob Rebbe Rebabot. 10,000 and 10,000 times 10,000 is 1,000,000,000,000. We're saying, Hashem, I cannot thank you. Alahat me'elef alfei alafim, 1,000,000,000. Verob Rebbe Rebabot, 1,000,000,000,000 of what you do for me. And if you put these numbers together, it's 1,000,000,000 times 1,000,000,000,000. It's a number that has 21 zeros. And that means that if all I did from the second I was born till the second I passed away after 120, for 120 years, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, non-stop, I did not thank Hashem for 1,000,000,000th of a 1,000,000,000th of what He does for me. That means I have to live 1,000,000,000 lifetimes, 1,000,000,000 times to thank Hashem for the first. We have no concept how much Borei Olam does.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org